It is my view that the deceitful way the interview was obtained substantially influenced what my mother said.
Prince William's recent decision to strip royal titles from members of Queen Camilla's family marks one of the most significant and controversial moments in the modern history of the British monarchy. This move did not arise in isolation, but was the culmination of prolonged tensions, private disputes, and an intensifying power shift within the royal household. As the future king, William's actions carry weight and symbolic consequence, and the revocation of titles within Camilla's circle represents a moment of calculated assertion, an attempt to realign the core of the monarchy with a more defined, streamlined identity that reflects his vision for its future. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The event unfolded behind the high walls of palace protocol but quickly spilled into the public sphere, triggering widespread discussion among royal watchers and constitutional experts alike. Camilla, once a controversial figure herself, had worked for years to integrate her family into the royal fabric following her marriage to King Charles III. While her own position had solidified, particularly after her designation as Queen Consort and then Queen, her relatives, particularly her children and extended family, gradually found themselves bestowed with semi-formal access and recognition in court circles. Though they never occupied official working royal roles, their proximity to power became increasingly evident in public engagements and private invitations, granting them a level of status that skirted the traditional royal boundaries. However, this quiet integration had long irked certain elements within the royal family, most notably Prince William. With Charles advancing in age and delegating more royal responsibility to his son, William has become the de facto steward of the institution's future. His concern wasn't simply one of protocol, but of principle. To William, the monarchy's relevance depends on its clarity and efficiency, particularly as public scrutiny intensifies in an era of austerity and growing Republican sentiment. Allowing non-royal family members, particularly those with no noble lineage or constitutional duty, to enjoy titles or privileges blurred the lines of accountability and heritage that underpin the monarchy's credibility. The tension between William and Camilla's family reportedly simmered for years, often manifesting in whispered disapproval and behind-the-scenes disagreements. The friction wasn't always direct. Instead, it emerged in small gestures, exclusion from certain events, limitations on public appearances, and subtle demotions in royal protocol. These hints grew more overt in recent months, particularly as William began holding more sway in the daily management of royal affairs. What once would have required full consensus between the monarch and his heir now shifted slightly under William's increasing influence, especially with King Charles's ongoing health concerns and intermittent absences from royal duties. The tipping point came during a series of meetings reportedly held at Kensington Palace, in which the inner workings of the royal family were scrutinized with an eye toward modernization. William, known for his cautious but firm leadership style, laid out a framework for a more focused royal structure. This included redefining the roles of working royals, and more importantly, severing informal associations that might appear to dilute the monarchy's symbolic weight. The presence of Camilla's family on the fringes of royal life, enjoying perks and recognition without carrying the burden of responsibility, became the central target of reform. It was during these deliberations that the formal decision was made. Any honorifics or titles extended to members of Camilla's family would be rescinded. While they were never in line for peerages or direct succession rights, some of Camilla's relatives, particularly her children from her first marriage, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes, had been quietly elevated in terms of social and ceremonial standing. That standing has now been stripped away in one stroke of William's royal prerogative, a bold assertion of his intent to draw the royal circle more tightly and exclusively around those born into, or officially married into, the core of the Windsor line. This move had immediate ramifications, not just within the family but across the palace staff and wider aristocratic society. Camilla herself was said to be blindsided, not necessarily by the intent. Rumors had long swirled about William's dissatisfaction, but by the timing and decisiveness of the action. Her children, while never fully embraced by the aristocracy nor integrated into the working monarchy, had found a delicate space within the royal network. Stripping away their recognition essentially erases that position, potentially rendering them once again private citizens in the eyes of the court, albeit with ties that can never fully be severed. For William, the decision reflects his broader strategy of safeguarding the monarchy through streamlining and recalibration. As public expectations evolve, so too must the monarchy's presentation of itself. This philosophy had already seen the reduction of minor royals from public payrolls and the tightening of ceremonial roles. By acting decisively regarding Camilla's family, William signaled that bloodline, duty, and tradition, not association or sentiment, will determine status in the new royal order. The implications are manifold. Within the family, this move introduces a new dynamic of hierarchy and loyalty. Camilla, despite her queenship, must now navigate a more delicate balance, as her position is intrinsically tied to her husband, while William's authority grows independently. The message is clear. Titles and privileges are not guaranteed by proximity to the crown. They are contingent on purpose, lineage, and institutional necessity. It places Camilla in a more vulnerable position, politically if not personally, and diminishes her capacity to protect or elevate her own lineage within the structure of the monarchy. This also sets a precedent. If Camilla's family, so closely tied to the sovereign, can be removed from honorary status, then the same can potentially apply to any branch of the extended royal network. It's a signal to all minor royals, former HRHs, and tangential figures that the future monarchy will be leaner and more rigidly defined. The royal household's communication strategy appeared to reflect this shift, as briefings around the decision emphasized tradition, clarity, and modernization. An attempt to root the controversy in a broader institutional narrative rather than in familial drama. For the public, this act lands with both shock and a sense of confirmation. The monarchy has long been perceived as insular, with titles and honors handed out based on favoritism and legacy rather than merit. William's move, while controversial, aligns with calls for a monarchy that reflects accountability and purpose. His decision communicates that even those closest to the throne are not above restructuring and reprioritization. It's a play for both institutional discipline and public favor, asserting that the future king is willing to make hard choices to preserve the dignity and relevance of the crown. Among royal aides and constitutional scholars, the legal and ceremonial process of such a revocation became a topic of intense interest. While Camilla's children were not granted formal peerages, there were inherited and bestowed honors within the court that conferred symbolic weight. Stripping these titles required the use of royal warrants and adjustments in the order of precedence, many of which had not been revisited in decades. William's intervention thus became not just a matter of familial restructuring, but a constitutional maneuver, executed within the bounds of royal authority but charged with deep political and social significance. The impact on Camilla's family is both immediate and long-term. Their social standing within aristocratic circles, already somewhat precarious, faces new challenges. While still the children of a queen, they are no longer considered honorary royals in any meaningful sense. Invitations to events, their appearance in official publications, and even their treatment in royal correspondence will likely reflect their diminished status. For Tom Parker Bowles, a noted food critic, and Laura Lopes, an art curator, the change may not affect their careers directly, but it redefines their place in Britain's ever-watchful societal hierarchy. Within the media, the story has generated a storm of commentary. For years, the integration of Camilla's family into royal life had been quietly accepted, if not embraced, by royal observers. Their low public profile and careful avoidance of scandal worked in their favor. But now, that silent accommodation has been shattered, replaced with a sharper, more defined royal boundary. It's a pivot point in the narrative of the Windsor family, one that underscores William's growing role as both executor and protector of the monarchy's evolving mission. There is also a deeper emotional undercurrent to the decision. For all the protocol and symbolism, this is still a family. Camilla, who endured years of public scrutiny and personal hardship to claim her place as queen, may see this as a personal affront, an erasure of her past, and a marginalization of her children. The emotional toll of this shift, even if quietly borne, will undoubtedly ripple through the royal corridors. It casts William not just as a reformer, but as a ruthless one, willing to enforce the monarchy's boundaries even when it hurts those closest to his father. Yet in doing so, William establishes himself firmly as the architect of a new royal era. An era where the boundaries between royal and non-royal are more stark, where family ties must serve the crown and not the reverse. This recalibration has been coming for years, hinted at in earlier reforms and decisions, but now, with the removal of Camilla's family from royal recognition, the shift has fully arrived. It is both a strategic realignment and a declaration of sovereignty over the institution, over its image, and over its future. This defining act is likely to reverberate for years to come. As William continues to prepare for his eventual kingship, such bold strokes may become more common. With each action, he demonstrates a commitment to purpose over sentiment, structure over tradition for tradition's sake. Whether this gains him admiration or criticism remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. Under his influence, the monarchy is entering a new, uncompromising chapter. One in which titles are not tokens, and proximity to the crown no longer guarantees permanence. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Prince William stripping Camilla's family titles? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.